What if Luffy, our rubbery bundle of chaos, actually gets his hands on 2 devil fruits? Yeah, I know that's practically a giant neon sign screaming, "You're gonna explode!" in One Piece's usual rules, because the world keeps telling us only 1 fruit per person or you're toast. But hey, Blackbeard somehow pulled it off, so let's just unleash our inner what if, and see what goes down if our favorite straw-hatted goofball managed to snag a second power. Ace is gone, Marineford is over, and Luffy's spirit is basically in shambles. He can barely keep it together, especially after losing someone so close, but the rest of the Straw Hats tell him to take a breather, get some real training done with Rayleigh, and come out even stronger so that something like Ace's death never happens again. After 2 years of insane training, which probably includes Rayleigh doing stuff like throwing boulders at Luffy for breakfast, he finally meets up with the crew on Sabaody Archipelago, rocking a new scar, brand new confidence, and the same appetite that could bankrupt any buffet in record time. Now, the Straw Hats end up in Dressrosa, which is basically the island of living toys, flamenco dancing creeps, and that twisted warlord Don Quixote do Flamingo. We remember how they split up into different squads, some to sabotage the Smile Factory, some to run around looking for dwarves or something, and Luffy gets lured into the Corrida Coliseum because the Mera Mera no Mi is the grand prize. Ace's devil fruit is just sitting there like some carnival token, and there's no way Luffy would let anybody else get their grubby hands on it, especially not someone shady like Burgess, who's chilling there on behalf of Blackbeard. So Luffy, disguised very conspicuously as Lucy, enters the tournament. Partway through the crazy battles of the tournament, with columns being smashed and random wacky gladiators flying all over the arena, Sabo suddenly shows up. This is the brother everyone believed to be dead. He wants to protect Ace's fruit too, but once Luffy explains that he has some huge idea in mind for it, Sabo steps aside, and that's when Luffy catches a glimpse of the Mera Mera no Mi, that swirling orange fruit basically sizzling with memories of Ace. In an impulse, classic Luffy move, he thinks, wait, my body might handle this. I've done crazier things, right? And he just bites into the Mera Mera no Mi like it's a piece of steak. Sabo's face probably looks like it's about to freeze mid-scream, and everyone else is expecting Luffy to just, I don't know, go kaboom, or vanish in a puff of logic. But that doesn't happen. Instead, Luffy collapses, convulsing with an insane surge of power. It's like 2 savage energies battling inside of him. Time feels like it stops for a moment, while the entire Coliseum stands there gawking. And then the real fireworks start. Luffy's rubbery body crackles with fire that flickers up his arms, across his shoulders, and eventually engulfs him. He's basically a walking bonfire, blazing bright with Ace's inherited flames. His mind is dizzy, his 2 hearts, which maybe thanks to some weird lineage or that whole Will of D nonsense, who knows, are beating in bizarre tandem. The swirl of power could annihilate him, yet somehow it stabilizes. Luffy manages to stand, trembling but alive. Burgess sees that prized fruit basically vanish into Luffy's stomach, and he's furious. He charges in for the kill. Sabo's ready to jump in, but Luffy's like, nope, I got this. And a fight breaks out that practically tears the Coliseum apart. Imagine Luffy unleashing a flurry of Red Hawk-style punches, except they're amped up beyond what we've ever seen. The flames on his knuckles twist into swirling vortexes every time he extends his rubber arms. Burgess tries to tank it, but each blow knocks him back, parting the air with many explosions of superheated oxygen. The grand finale is something like Luffy going 3rd gear, inflating his arm, then coating the entire massive fist in swirling flames for a meteor-like elephant gun that sends Burgess smashing halfway across Dressrosa. Naturally, everyone in the arena is picking their jaws up off the floor. Luffy, though, is half-conscious and only stays upright because he's too stubborn to pass out just yet. Sabo swoops in, they escape, and soon it's time to face off against Doflamingo. Because what's a new power if not tested against a sick psycho with string manipulation that can slice a building in half? So now we've got Luffy weaving through razor-sharp threads in that final showdown above the palace. Doflamingo's birdcage is shrinking around Dressrosa, and Luffy's new flame-based moves clash with the swirling webs of awakened string insanity. Gear 4th's Bound Man form gets a huge upgrade. The rubbery bouncy body is now wreathed in flickers of flame. So whenever Luffy rockets forward with a cannon-like punch, it's also accompanied by a scorching wave of heat that forces Doflamingo to dodge differently than in the original timeline. The flurry of flaming jet gatling leaves Doflamingo's threads charred, and that flamboyant pink feather coat starts to smolder. Dofi tries his usual mind games, mocking Ace to get under Luffy's skin, but that just fuels the fire, literally. Luffy unleashes a monstrous finishing move, combining his rubber elasticity, armament hockey, and the raging inferno from the Mera Mera no Mi into a full-blown infernal King Kong gun. The shockwave is insane. Doflamingo is absolutely flattened. The birdcage shatters, and Dressrosa is free to party about not being turned into a big puppet show anymore. Fast forward a bit, and we have the Straw Hats regrouping at Zou. Luffy can do things like superheat the air for little rocket boosts or form walls of flame to block attacks, but he has to be careful not to toast his friends or incinerate random stuff like Chopper's medical gear. Meanwhile, they hear about Sanji being taken to Whole Cake Island for this arranged wedding. Luffy's all, "He's our chef, let's go," so they zoom over there, with Luffy training on the ship every spare second. He tries out combos in Gear Second, whipping off flame punches that accelerate so fast they create these bright afterimages. He also experiments with using the Mera Mera no Mi for ranged attacks, spitting out small bursts of flame from his mouth, although it's not as polished as Ace's old fire gun technique. Over on Whole Cake Island, once they manage to tick off Big Mom, the fight gets ridiculous. Luffy squares up against Cracker first, but the main event is definitely the insane showdown with Katakuri. Gear 4th getting supercharged, especially Snake Man, with flames trailing behind his fists, punching through Katakuri's sticky mochi and turning it rock solid in the heat. Of course, Katakuri can literally see the future, so it's not exactly easy street. We get mochi flying everywhere, fists going wild, and the mirror world lighting up like someone left the oven on full blast. After matching punch for what feels like forever, Luffy finally taps into those two hearts beating in sync, throwing a flaming Conqueror's Hockey Charge punch straight through Katakuri's defense, knocking him flat. Then jump ahead to Wano, where Kaido's waiting, basically the toughest, drunkest dragon ever. This time, Luffy's flame-boosted attacks make things explosive from the get-go. Kaido fires off his signature Boro Breath, but Luffy counters with a giant fire fist, splitting the blast in a fiery spectacle. Even though Kaido's crazy scales can tank a ton of damage, the flames combined with advanced Haki start wearing him down earlier than usual. But Kaido isn't a pushover. Thunder Bagua still smacks Luffy around big time. Then comes the crazy twist. Luffy awakens Gear 5th and merges it perfectly with the Mera Mera no Mi. His hair turns white, steam rolls off him, and his flames shift into a blazing white-hot glow nobody's seen before. It's pure cartoon chaos as Luffy dodges Kaido's attacks effortlessly. Kaido swings his Kanabo. Luffy leaps right over and nails him between the horns with a punch hotter than the sun. It's complete madness, sky-splitting Conqueror's Hockey explosions everywhere, until Luffy lands one massive flaming strike that sends Kaido crashing down, saving Onigashima and liberating Wano in a blaze of epic glory. Luffy ends up thrashing Rob Lucci again, when the Gorosei arrive, or if Kizaru turns up and starts spamming light beams. The Straw Hats get cornered, Vegapunk is targeted, and at the last second they manage to escape. The fallout is enormous, with the world going, "Dude, Luffy with 2 fruits just punked the world government?" And every major power in the sea is freaking out. Enter Blackbeard, totally salty that he's not the only 2-fruit guy anymore. His crew ambushes the Sunny, but instead of fighting, Teach hops on board with that creepy grin, pitching some D&D team-up about destiny and reshaping the world. But Luffy's not buying it. No way he's teaming up with the guy who basically set Ace's death in motion. After everything he's been through, Luffy shoots Teach down instantly, saying something super classic like, "Forget it, jerk. I'm gonna be Pirate King, and your weird face isn't part of that plan." It's the ultimate rejection, leaving Blackbeard seriously ticked off and setting the stage for an epic showdown. Battle breaks out, Blackbeard's darkness tangling with Luffy's blazing white flames, shaking the island to its core. The ground's cracking, the sky splits open from their Conqueror's Hockey, and both crews dive headfirst into an all-out brawl. Zoro's locked in a fierce sword fight against Shiryu, dodging cursed invisible strikes, while Sanji's delivering flaming kicks to Burgess, who's grown into a giant beast thanks to some Zoan fruit. Everyone's going wild. Teach tries to use his Yami Yami no Mi to neutralize Luffy, but Gear 5th's cartoonish unpredictability makes Luffy bounce straight out of darkness, scorching through Blackbeard's void. In one epic final move, Luffy summons a massive whirlwind of flames around his gigantic inflated fist, crashing head-on into Blackbeard's quake-fueled wave of darkness. It's like an explosion ripping reality apart. A blinding flash, a thunderous boom, and as the smoke clears, Teach lies beaten and fuming. Standing tall is Luffy, still grinning like a maniac, flames flickering around him as he claims victory once again. Luffy with 2 devil fruits shakes the entire sea. He's now a total powerhouse, battling admirals and emperors like they're nothing. Still goofy, still mispronouncing everyone's names, and still inhaling every meal. But now he's Rubber Fire incarnate. The government can't stop him, rival pirates don't stand a chance, and with Laugh Tale ahead, the mysteries only get bigger. If you're as hyped as I am, hit subscribe, cause this One Piece journey is just heating up.